Hello everybody, we're here today to give some first impressions from Grounded 2. So a couple of things to keep in mind here. These first impressions are coming from me, a player who did not play much of the first iteration of Grounded, but is really interested in survival games, really likes the idea of this game, and really wants to hop in and dive in. So I'll be giving some quick first impressions, including performance, gameplay and combat, progression and how that looks along with crafting, and then a quick little tidbit on Steam Deck performance because I have tried it on the Steam Deck, and general conclusions on this first look. So first thing here is Grounded is a survival crafting game where you are shrunk in a large park. You have different bug enemies, you have different survival mechanics that you need, and first thing we needed to do is select a game mode. So on the left we have survival. That means you're going to get hunger and thirst, and then after that creative mode is an option where you can choose bugs or no bugs, which are the enemies, and then there's also some custom options it looks like, which I did not dive into but probably will in the future. So we went with medium survival for this initial quick little playthrough, and then from there you're going to get an option on game perspective. Now I played the entire time so far on third person. Third person is, in my opinion, far superior. It gives you better options for seeing your field of view. It lets you see your character, it lets you see all around you. First person is an option if that's something you're interested in. Not sure how it will affect the performance though, based on what you're seeing here. From there, we had a character selection. I do not think the character selection affects your gameplay at all. It is just about personality, what you want to be seeing on your screen, especially if you're playing in third person, and what you want your characters to say. So I chose Pete for my playthrough. He's a little bit more of a nerd. He makes comments on different scientific things, things that he sees in nature, things that he sees genuinely around him, and kind of what's happening with the story in the game. So I went with Pete, and who you pick is up to you. From there, you'll be asked to select the name of your park. I, as you can see here, went through a couple different iterations, and I landed on Swell Park, realizing that, oh yes, it's a park, not a world. All right, so hopping into performance. So there are a ton of shaders that you're gonna need to load in for your game when you first launch. You will launch in this kind of scientific facility, trying not to give any spoilers here. You'll launch in this scientific facility with not a lot to go on where to go, what to do, and you kind of get a really quick idea of what the performance is going to be like on your system. So you can see in this window, as soon as I looked out onto the park, I had a lot of stuttering, quite a bit of lag, and some performance drops already. I was playing on the highest settings on a pretty mid-range PC, but I did notice quite a bit of stuttering in this third-person view. Again, I did not try on first person. I don't know how that would affect the performance, but had a lot of stuttering as soon as I looked out the window. You'll see through this little scientific facility also quite a bit more performance issues, things stuttering, trying to figure out buttons here on my screen, as you can see. But generally, after I got out into the park, the performance issues changed and improved quite a bit, just because your field of view is kind of dropping. So when you're looking out into the whole park, you can expect some lagging, some stuttering, some frame drops, things like that. But once you get out into the park and you can only see essentially what's in front of you and around you, you should be pretty good to go. So story-wise as well, this game takes place after Grounded 1. I don't think the story is super important. I think you can kind of ignore it. I'm trying to keep this generally spoiler free, but you can take and do with the story what you'd like. Okay, next up on the list is gameplay and combat. So gameplay wise, the movement feels extremely smooth. I enjoy the movement as long as my screen was not stuttering. I enjoy being able to see the character in third person, as you know, and I also quite enjoy the combat. It is a little bit hard to get used to, and you'll see later on in this video a couple places where I very clearly struggled with combat, trying to take on enemies that I wasn't yet ready to take on. But I think the gameplay and the combat generally is pretty smooth and goes pretty well. Something I really like about this game is the crafting system. So when you find resources in this game, you can analyze them. And when you analyze them, that will give you the opportunity to learn different crafting recipes that you can do with them, right? So it works pretty much the same as the first game as far as I know, but a really cool feature. So right here, you can see on my screen, I'm learning to dodge. I am trying to fight this ladybug, which apparently was a bad idea to do with only a spear and no armor. And I died to it, and I died to it again, and I died to it again. I then realized I should not try to fight the ladybug right now, and I think that's a really cool feature, having this kind of difficult enemy right out the gate that you probably can beat if you spend a little bit of time, or if you're a little bit more skilled in the game, but you're not expected to beat right out of the gate. So I really like that feature of the game. Really shows you right at the start that you need to be kind of pacing yourself, not jumping into battles you can't take, and really learning the combat system. As far as progression goes, I have not progressed too much yet in the game because I only played for a few hours. But I really like, again, the crafting system is going to be how you're getting a lot of progression. And there's also some RPG elements to this game where you have different stats and you can kind of gain different skills and different stats from like an RPG perspective. So it's not just a straight survival game. There's a lot more to it. And you can really, make your character your own and work on the things you want to work on and make it a little bit more of a role-playing experience than just a straight survival game. So I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it and looking forward to diving into that quite a bit more. As far as Steam Deck performance, so this is something I wanted to touch on because I'm a huge Steam Deck gamer. I love playing games on the Steam Deck. I think Steam Deck compatible games are far superior than any other game. And I was looking forward to trying this one on the Steam Deck and had not yet seen anybody talking about it when I started playing the game when I picked it up yesterday. So I played for maybe an hour or two this morning on the deck, and I have some mixed thoughts. So I think obviously performance is not the easiest on a Steam Deck. It's not the most smooth. I had to play on low settings and still experience a pretty low FPS. So make sure you're adjusting your settings because it will not default change when you hop on the Steam Deck. So make sure you're switching to low settings and you're capping your FPS. It is playable. I will say that the basic things related to playing the game are playable, but it's not the most seamless experience. And what I mean by that is the button mapping. There is default button mapping, but there are some pretty important buttons that are not default mapped. And I also wasn't able to map the buttons on the back of the deck. So the buttons on the back of the deck essentially just mapped to other buttons on the controller. And there's kind of a lot you need to click in this game to reach different menus, find different things, and so on. So it was very difficult for me to feel like I could really make use of all the buttons on the Steam Deck and access the things I needed to access on a regular basis. And I think where I felt that most was trying to access my inventory. So there is an inventory wheel you can access on the deck, but if you want to switch through the pages in that wheel, it's not very easy. And if you want to access the inventory at large, that button is not mapped. So you need to go in, unmap something else, and map that to that button. So just keep that in mind. If you are going to play on the Steam Deck, it's definitely possible. I wouldn't try to do any crazy sort of combat, but if you just want to go in, gather resources, do some building, things like that, totally feasible. Just make sure you have the buttons mapped that you think you're going to need. So overall first impressions, I think this game is really awesome. I think that for a survival game, it's super fun. I would love to play with friends soon, and I think I probably will get the chance to coming up here. Progression is great. I think the progression system is really cool. I think the addition of RPG elements really makes it something that you can take and make your own. I think that the controls are okay. The UI, which I didn't mention earlier, is a little bit clunky in places, but there's a lot there, so it would be hard for it to be perfect. It'd be hard for everything to be super easy to find. But overall, I think the game was great. I will continue playing it. I will continue giving impressions here on the channel. So if you're interested in hearing some more future impressions on Grounded 2, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the park.